Today, I'm making ribs. This is killing Dave, I know, but it's too cold outside to grill, so I'm going to be making my oven ribs, which even Dave likes actually, and he'd be the first to tell you. This is something that we have been making for years. It came out of our very first cookbook, and I'm going to show you how to do them. I think you're going to like it. Okay, these are pork spare ribs, and so they're not baby back, but spare ribs. And we have them with the membrane side down, which the membrane is kind of that thin layer of, well, membrane, I guess. And so the meat side is up, and that's important because we have onion and lemon that we put on top of the meat. And I honestly have never really heard of putting lemon on spare ribs in the oven, but I really think this is what helps to kind of tenderize the meat. The acidity from the lemon tenderizes the meat and imparts a good flavor, and I think that's what makes the difference. So I'm going to wash up my hands and I'm going to show you how to do it. All right, so go ahead and slice 2 medium onions, or 1 really large onion, and 1 lemon very finely. So you just want nice thin slices, and then you're going to want to start by putting a little bit of salt and pepper on your spare ribs. We are going to cover these with a homemade sauce, so you don't want a lot of salt. But everybody likes pepper, and it can't hurt your blood pressure, so go ahead and put on, you know, a liberal amount of pepper. And then you're going to add your onions, which you want to cover. Actually, you know what? I forgot, it's been a while since I made these, but I put the lemon down first because that's the part that tenderizes. So move over, onion. And you just want to cover most every piece of this nice rib with some lemon. Okay, then we're going to throw this onion on, and the juice from those tenderized onions will get down into that meat as well. Okay, about a ½ cup of water. Just pour that in the bottom of your pan, and then you're going to want to cover these with aluminum foil. That'll help that steaming of them, and we're going to place these in a 350 oven for 1 hour. And while we're doing that, we can go ahead and make our sauce. So I'll show you how to make the sauce here as soon as I get these in. You could certainly buy your own sauce, and when the ribs are finished cooking for this hour, you could put whatever sauce, store-bought sauce, but this is such a good sauce, and it's really not that hard, so I suggest you try making your own, and you know, have the, you know, you have kind of that proud moment of saying it's my own sauce. So anyway, this is a medium saucepan. We're going to turn the heat up to about medium, and place in your pan about a cup of ketchup. And to that, we're going to add a ½ cup of brown sugar. I just kind of lightly packed it in there. This is kind of one of those things you just dump all this in and then get it stirred and it's good to go. ½ cup of, this is apple cider vinegar, and a ½ cup of water. And then we're going to add a ½ teaspoon of salt and a full teaspoon of chili powder. Oops, we get a little more, no big deal. We like it a little spicy. This is ground mustard, and so dry ground mustard. You want about a teaspoon of that. Again, you know, if you're a little over, you don't have to be perfect in your measurements. If you're baking, yes. When you're cooking, yeah. And then this is just ground paprika. We want about a ½ teaspoon of that, but I got more like 3/4, which again, fine. Okay, Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire, however you pronounce this. We say Worcestershire. I don't know what you say. We say Worcestershire. Okay, so 2 tablespoons. And let's see, do I have it all? I think I do. Okay, that's it. So you can tell that is not tough. So we're just going to stir that together. combine it all really nicely. And then you're going to want to cook this uncovered until it starts to thicken up. That's going to take about 10 minutes. And so what we'll do is show you how yummy that looks. And while your ribs are cooking, get this started. And then you can set it aside. They smell so good already. I'm very excited about these. You can just see that steam coming out from under that foil, which means our steaming process is working. Okay, and I can get a facial while I go, whoa, ta-da. All right, and we're going to take off the onion and the lemon, and you'll just discard that. They've done well. They have served their purpose. What you want to do is find the spot where the bone, you can see like the little indentions here. So you just want to cut where there's an indention. Okay, we finished cutting the ribs and I emptied the fluids from the pan. And then you're going to take the sauce, the beautiful sauce that you made, and just put about 1/3 of it maybe over the tops of your ribs. And they're not finished cooking by any means. So we're going to put these back in the oven, and I'm going to cover them with the foil because they need to steam a little more. And ribs are one of those things that take some time. So you definitely want them to be really, really tender. So we're going to put the foil back on, which will continue to steam them, but now some of this sauce will get in there and start to flavor them really nicely. And then after about a half an hour, I'm going to take them back out, and I'll show you what you do for the next final steps. They're really starting to smell amazing. And they're probably looking a lot better now that we have some sauce on. Yep. Okay. Now, we want to get these kind of caramelized. So, and there's some sugar in not only the ketchup, but in the brown sugar, of course, that we put in here. So that's going to caramelize once we put them back in the oven. And then some of this moisture will evaporate out the bottom, and these ribs are going to start looking like what you would expect from, a nice barbecued rib, where the sauce is sticking nicely and they look kind of browned and delicious. So the next time I pull these out, they're going to look a lot different, a lot better, even though they're starting to look pretty darn good. Okay, so we're going to save the rest of our sauce for the last basting. Put these in for another probably 15 minutes. Check on them then. Put another coating of sauce, and then I think we're going to be ready to eat. For the third and final basting of our ribs, you can see now that they're looking a lot prettier than they did. That sauce is starting to caramelize, starting to brown up nicely, so we're putting the very last of our sauce on. Stick them in for another 15 minutes, and then it is going to be dinner time. We are ready for ribs. So are our dogs, as you can tell. They smell them, and I don't blame them for sticking around because they do smell great. And they look amazing. See how pretty? I promised you it'd be caramelized. Has a very nice looking brown, caramely red sauce. And I'll just kind of show you how tender that is. They just, you can tell when your fork goes in that easily that they're really beautiful. Just cut a little bit over here. Let you see how easily it pulls off the bone. Because nobody's looking. Not even my cameraman, right? It's really, really tender. And that sauce has a nice kick. It's sweet, but the vinegar gives it a nice little, is that barbecue sauce on my lip? But it gives it a nice little, pop. And yeah, you've got to try these. If you have a cold winter day and can't get out to grill, this is what you want to make if you can't get out to make ribs. So try it. You're gonna love it. I don't think they'll see that, do you? Nah, they won't notice.